I want to talk about how to use manufacturing and retail sales data for accurate stock market forecasting. How to use manufacturing and retail sales data for accurate stock market forecasting. I want to look at number one, introduction to economic indicators. Introduction to economic indicators. So, manufacturing and retail sales and data, is are key economic indicators. These are indicators that you could use to forecast, stock market trends. So their importance in providing insight into economic health and consumer behavior cannot be overemphasized. Number two, manufacturing data and its relevance. The relevance of manufacturing data. So you have key metrics we are going to look into, and this comprises Purchasing Managers Index, the PMI, the Purchasing Managers Index. And this index tracks orders, production level, as well as suppliers delivery. It tracks orders from the manufacturer, the production level, as well as deliveries from suppliers. We also have factory output levels, and this particular index measures production across industries. It measures level of production across different industries. We also consider capacity utilization. It indicates how efficiently industries are operating. It's an efficiency measuring indicators. It measures how efficiently industries are deploying their resources to produce finished goods. We also need to consider impact on stock markets, impact of manufacturing and retail sales data on stock markets. So early indicators of economic expansions or contraction. Actually, these data will give you an idea of whether the economy is expanding or whether the economy is contracting. So sectors like industrials, like materials and energy are particularly sensitive to manufacturing trends. So we may consider, a case where the PMI, the Purchasing Managers Index, falls below 50. Once it falls below 50, it signals, economic contraction. It shows that the economy is, undergoing contraction. Number three, retail sales data and its significance. I want to look at we've considered the significance of the manufacturers or the Purchasing Managers Index. We want to look at retail sales data and the significance. So in this case, we look at key metrics in these regards, and these will comprise total sales figures. It tracks spending trend across various categories. It tracks spending trend across various categories. We also need to consider year-on-year comparisons. You're comparing the figure of this particular year, against last year. So in this case, it highlights shifts in consumer behavior. This comparison will give an idea of a shift in consumer behavior. Not only that, we also look at e-commerce versus brick and mortar trends. e-commerce versus brick and mortar trends. That's online trends versus normal physical retail stores. So it reflects structural changes in retail. Are people drifting towards online sales, or are they really still, attracted to the normal brick and mortar store sales? We also need to talk about impacts on stock markets. The impacts of retail sales data on the stock markets. There's there's this particular direct relationship, to consumer spending, which is of course is a major driver of gross domestic products. The more consumer spends, that will equally, indicates the nature, the expansion or the contraction of the GDP. So sectors like consumer discretionary and retail stocks respond strongly to sales data. Example is positive retail sales, often boost confidence in growth-oriented sectors. For sectors that are growth-oriented, a boost in retail sales will cause that particular sector to perform very well. Please don't like this video and subscribe to this channel if you've not done that. Number 4 is a correlation between manufacturing and retail data. Correlation, that connection between manufacturing and retail data. Manufacturing predicts production trends. Retail sales measure final, consumer demands. Manufacturer gives you an idea of what is produced, and the retail sales give an idea of of consumption, consumer demands. So sometimes it could be misalignment. Example, rising inventory with declining sales may signal economic slowdown. Discover that inventory is piling up because of increased manufacturing, but unfortunately there's a decline in sales. It indicates the fact that the economy is undergoing a slowdown. Number 5, using these indicators for stock market forecasting. Using these indicators for stock market forecasting. So leading indicators for identifying economic, turning point. These are indicators that will tell you precisely, the stages of the economy and when it's about to undertake, a kind of changes from its present stage, from its present condition. So combined with other metrics like employment data and inflation for a holistic view. You don't just work on this index alone, indicators alone. You have to combine it with other indicators to have a better view of what is happening in the markets. So considering a practical example, you need to ask yourself how strong retail sales direct during holidays can influence quarterly earnings reports. Usually during holiday periods, there's that particular increase in sales, and this increase in sales could definitely affect the quarterly result, the same quarterly result for that particular retail establishment, that retail retail outlets or the retail firm or industry, as the case may be. So quarterly report will or quarterly earning will certainly influence the same quarterly reports. Number 6, limitations and challenges. Manufacturing and retail data are subject to seasonal adjustment and revisions. Regional variation can skew interpretation. Example, global versus domestic trends. Not only that, markets may react to expectations rather than actual data. And in conclusion, the importance of these indicators for forecasting stock markets, cannot be overemphasized. And so viewers should actually track manufacturing and retail trends as part of their investment analysis. You need to track retail sales as well as the Purchasing Managers Index. So these two indicators combined together will give an idea of what will happen in the stock market, in the very near future. So a combination of both, and if possible, you equally bring in other indicators to be able to adequately forecast or predict the trends in the stock markets.